Welcome to Synchronicity. Getting this one under the bill. What? That's a poor way to start and not a good sentence. What I was trying to say is, got this one in under the gun. Not my fault. Baby came. There's another baby. 3 sons. That's how we do it. He's adorable. Aslan. He's the cutest. He had a rough entry, so he was at and is still at the NICU about 25 minutes south of where me and his mom are. He's doing great. He's totally fine. He'll be home tomorrow. You never know how it's going to go. That's 3 for 3 on children in the NICU, by the way. So I get that award. If you don't know what that is, that's the neonatal intensive care unit. A place you generally don't want to be, but it's nice when it's not serious. So cool. Got that out of the way. Before we get to the episode, which we kind of already got into, a big shout out to the guys at Ned. They're still doing it. They're great. I guess that means you guys like their stuff, what they're putting out, their full spectrum hemp oil, their CBD, their magnesium, all the stuff you need to stay on top of your shit. And I can tell you, as someone who's gotten very little nutrients or food in them in the past few days, when you can take something that actually does something for you, it's pretty good. I'm looking forward to when they actually sell weed. When does that happen, guys? Do that. If you go to helloned.com, use the code SYNC, S-Y-N-C, at checkout, you get 15% off every single thing you order. That's pretty cool. So I recommend you do that. Okay, let's get to the fucking episode. Supposed to have a guest, but as you can imagine, it's hard to schedule a guest when you're trying to figure out when a baby's coming. It's just not in the cards. So we're going to jump on a solo cast, have a good time. Also, big announcement. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode because I think we came up with the premise and the idea right around then. It was a few weeks ago. We launched a cryptocurrency. It's called Drugs. Money sign DRUGS. It's pretty fucking cool, I gotta say. I've wanted to start a crypto. This is. I know it's crazy, but I've wanted to start a cryptocurrency for a long time. It's just to be clear, we're not solving anything. We're not purporting to be like some revolutionary blockchain amazing. We're going to solve the world. We don't know. It's a meme coin. It's literally a meme coin. The premise is people want to say I bought some drugs. I sold some drugs. And they'll be talking about a cryptocurrency. And if you want details on it, there's a website, drugwars.biz. It's been a really interesting kind of exercise in doing it. First, you have to figure out how to create a cryptocurrency. Then you have to figure out the tokenomics of it, so you're not just hoarding the supply and dumping on people. Then you want to be, at least if you're doing it how we're doing it, is you want to be very transparent. You want to be clear so people aren't like, what's going on? I don't know how this works. Why is it working like that? But it's pretty simple. We had a private sale. If you were lucky enough to be in the CryptoSync Discord, wink, wink, for patrons, then you had access to what's known as a pre-sale. Pre-sale people they provide the initial liquidity for the trading pair. So when this pair launches, it will be the drugs pair with USDC on PancakeSwap, which is on the Binance Smart Chain. If you don't have any idea what cryptocurrency is, this is going to sound like gibberish. However, I would like to point out that you can always jump in. We have a Telegram, we have a Discord, we have CryptoSync, there's a Twitter. You can just ask questions. It's like we're not trying to make this complicated, but we're not trying to make it like click one button and get this, because the way this coin works, it's very simple. Have we talked about how everything is a Ponzi scheme? Not just money, but everything in life. Our willingness to provide awareness or attention or resources towards something is what gives it its inherent value. So a lot of people will look at something like Bitcoin and they'll be like, hey, well, at least it's pegged to electricity, so we know there's some value exchange there. But what gives Bitcoin its value is a little bit different than that gives something like Dogecoin its value. Dogecoin was literally built with the intention of being a joke. It was not meant to develop into a currency with a multi-billion-dollar market cap and liquidity enough for people to trade in and out and make money. Not what it was intended to do. Yet, here we go. We got people like Elon Musk talking about it and people buying more of it, and it's turned into an actual mode of currency. People make money on it. Now, you could argue this is just a complicated game of moving the buck around, moving the ball around, and eventually, there's going to be the people who buy at the end and they lose their money, right? That's the fear with all of these things. That can obviously happen, but if a currency stabilizes with multi-billions a multi-billion dollar market cap, like you're probably not going to be the last one holding the bag. Don't buy into something that shoots up a crazy amount and think you're going to make like insane gains as before. That can happen, but like just try to think about how all this stuff works. So drugs is literally a meme coin, community coin. You buy it. As people buy it, more liquidity is added to the coin, the value goes up. One of the coolest things about this, and it's the only time I actually have 100% assurance that this is true, is I know the team. I'm one of the people. It's two other friends and me. It's pretty easy to know that I'm not going to fuck myself. I'm not going to put also my name on something, be fully doxxed, be fully available, and pull the rug on people or, take all their money and run away. It's not in my best interest. It's not really something that I would ever consider doing. So that is good for me because I know that the team behind this isn't like shady. And one of the things we've been kind of coming up with is people have been coming up with these amazing memes in CryptoSync and the drugs Discord. And we want to give people money for spreading the word about this. The very basic formula is this. As the awareness of drugs goes up, people buy drugs. Thereby, the price of drugs goes up. That's it. That's the roadmap. That's the white paper. It's not complicated. People should be able to scale out without crashing the price. We have like a decent amount of liquidity for launch. I'm genuinely impressed how quickly we got this out there, how smooth and how great the team has been about getting coins to people. We're expecting the pair to launch for trading probably in about a week from the air date of this, which would be the end of May. That means anyone will be able to buy it, who hears about it. Now, we're also in the middle of launching the public sale. So if you like what I'm saying and you're interested in it, at the appointed time, there will be another round where you can send USDC, basically just dollars, stablecoin dollars, and receive equal amount of drugs back. So that is also going to be something open. So that's like there's the pre-sale, then there's the public sale, then there's the listing. And then once it's listed, we'll see what happens. We've had some pretty interesting people reach out. Just like from my standpoint, it's just the best meme ever. It's like real. Also, on my crazy DMT trip, I mean, it's not crazy because I had smoked drugs, but like I may have gone into the future and sensed or created drugs, this coin, and then sent back and then followed the plan. Kind of feels like that. It's hard to describe. I don't know what's going to happen. I just have a good feeling about it. I guess, I wouldn't launch it if I didn't have a good feeling about it, but I don't know. It's cool. I think it's like going to be a good thing. So you may want to look into it. You may not. If, you think it's a scam or you think it's something that's destined to fail, don't buy it. But I have different feelings about it. So that's fun. All that info can be found again at drugwars.biz. There's links to the social media accounts where you can find out more information. So that's going on. How have you guys been? It's been a pretty crazy month. I got to say, May's been pretty rocky. It's not in a bad way. A lot of kind of reconstituting yourself, getting your shit back together, realizing what's important to you and for you, and just trying to focus on that at the expense of everything else. Don't really pay too much Don't pay too much intention to creating things that you don't want in this world. I think that to me seems to be the dominant theme of what has gone on. Whereas I think the summer is going to be a little more like doing the things you feel like you should be doing. That seems to be more. I feel like we've been in an energy where it's like kind of stuck in neutral, I want to say, or like maybe even going in reverse a little bit. And it feels like that, and it's very easy to buy into that idea or state. And I would just say, maybe it's coming up for your own awareness's sake. It's not probably something that's meant to grind you down and push you to, not do what you need to do. Personally, that's what I think. I also want to talk about here Cinnamon Toast. They have this Cascadian Farms. Has anyone found this scam yet? These healthy, quote unquote, organic, farm-raised, pasture-raised cereals. They let them run around and shit. This is just Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They just jacked it and called it Cinnamon Toast Squares. It's literally just there, and they charge $3 more. That shouldn't be allowed. I feel as though that shouldn't be allowed. That should not be something that they can do. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Uh, Money continues to be a big theme in my life, but I think people in general. The financial system is fucked, right? We know this just based on debt and how people are. There's a lot of people struggling with money issues. So, there's going to be a lot of money released by the federal government for various things. Money is a meme. That's essentially what this episode is about, right? It's a meme. It exists because we believe it exists, and it works because we believe it works. And no one, it's hard to be like, I'm not going to pay my rent this month. I'm not going to pay you for these groceries. I'll give you my own money that I invented. You'll take this. It's unfortunately not really how it works. I guess it is if it's drugs. They probably won't take the drugs, but you see the meme. The meme is going to be the best part of this by far. Like, it's got legs. I know it. There was all these dog tokens, all of these things people were doing. Great, wonderful. Dog tokens. Because dogs are cute. Everyone loves dogs. Much wow. Great. Drugs is way cooler, obviously. But money is a meme. And I take the time here every single time I talk about money to emphasize that if you are having financial difficulties, if you have not been accustomed to like an abundance mentality, and I haven't my whole life, like it was very, very recently, I feel like I really cracked the code. I think I solved different puzzles related to money, like how to make money, how to create a job for myself, how to like develop the time and space to do things I want, but still like I was reliant on a certain core belief of how money worked, and that I was kind of a slave to that. uh, Now I really practice, I try as much as possible to practice what I preach here, which is if money feels like it's constricting, rather than buying into that idea as like, and this is very important with crypto, when your shit drops like 80%, and you'd be like, what the fuck just happened? Luckily, I was spared that in this last crash, which was crazy. But when it feels like it's constricting, don't buy into that narrative. You'd be like, yeah, I've seen this story before. It feels like it's constricting, but somehow something happens and it doesn't. So just be on guard for buying into narratives that kind of buttress like a lack mentality. It's not. I don't say this because like everyone is going to be like driving around in fucking Lamborghinis and living in mansions and yachts and all this stuff. First of all, most people don't really want that. Have you ever seen like a lot of these like celebrity like Instagrams or TikToks? Like a lot of their houses look really sad. Like it doesn't look like a place you would want to live. It's like a little depressing. It's like really big and probably not used. So it's not like you need these like symbols of wealth to be satisfied. However, what I am talking about, if there is something you want in life and it costs money to get it, you don't have to imagine getting the money to get it, but you can certainly imagine having the thing. I do this with music here. I remember, you know, 20 years ago, I'm cracking plugins. I'm downloading illegally plugins for music making because I just didn't have the money to do it, right? So I did whatever I needed to do to get the software that I could make music with. Now, if there's a plugin I like, I don't think twice. I'm going to the site and I'm buying it. I have no problem because I know that that's money and energy well spent. So when I think of something that I want that will make my life more beautiful or provide benefit to me in a substantial way, I do it. And sometimes it does. The stuff I get does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's not going to be that these things will solve any issue in your life. Money will solve immediate practical issues, which can't be discounted. It's a terrible feeling to feel like you don't have enough. That's like a feeling that I personally feel people should be spared from as much as possible. Like, as no one's like, you can learn some lessons being in poverty. A lot of people have learned powerful lessons, but a daily grind, a monthly grind, a yearly grind where you feel like you're just not clawing your way out of debt or just doing enough to get by, that's not how we're meant to live. So this is what I talk about when money is a meme and all of this stuff, like, is just an idea. Do not attach your value and self-worth. I know this is very like plain and kind of like self-helpy to talk about to money, but also don't restrict your ability to summon forth or tap into a flow of money. And this applies not just to money. It applies to love. It applies to security. It applies to anything in your life that you genuinely feel would be for your betterment and the betterment of the people around you. That's super fucking important. That's the main goal. Like when we talk about all this like ascension stuff and you know, fifth dimension and reality leveling up and breaking out of the matrix. What we're really doing here is creating a new paradigm of which people can live comfortably and continue to grow in the ways that they want to. We've for too long been put on this kind of like, you know, rat race of like going through these things that are kind of set up for us to go through. I don't really believe so much in the conspiracy aspect of this. Like, I think these are systems that naturally evolved based on our consciousness. And as the mind moved from a more what is typically called a primitive mindset where everything is like magical and, you know, the gods are speaking to us and nature is speaking to us, to like a very rational, scientific, like, no, it's because of our prefrontal cortex that we process emotion. I always give the scientist the fucking nerd voice. As we move from that, we've placed more focus on how things should work analytically, rationally. You have to put aside reason quite often to get into those more mystical, primitive mindsets. That's why a lot of people like psychedelics. It's good to do that. There is a rebalancing of those two energies clearly taking place. That creates also a lot of chaos in our world as people adjust to that. For people like me, for the most part, I've kind of been waiting for this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is how reality works. I waited for external reality, my external reality, to kind of validate and vindicate that and see it take place. I'm loving this for the most part. I'm having the best time of my life most of the time. If you really bought into this idea of like just scientific materialism and, you know, no inherent like God being power to yourself, this shit is probably not that fun. It's probably like, what the why? Why is everything wrong all of a sudden? Why is there so much if you're one of these people, these may be the symptoms you may be experiencing. You look out in the world, all you see is chaos. You look out in the world, all you see is division. You look out in the world, all you see is conflict. You look out in the world, all you see is conspiracies. You look out in the world, all you see is injustice. If those are the only things you're seeing, I hate to break it to you, but you're probably too rationally minded. It's okay. I know people like that in all walks of life. Zen Buddhists, I know. Grandmaster Zen Buddhists. Are you Grandmasters? The Ku Klux Klan. I don't think they have. Anyway, really high level Buddhists who've been doing this for decades, they are caught up in that. And it's not a judgment. I just look at this from a point of alleviating suffering and allowing people to tap into what's important to them. Um, Notice if you're subscribing to any of the things I just mentioned. That means you're probably very rational, very reasonable, very objective, right? This is a masculine type of energy. It's nothing to do if you're a boy or a girl, man or a woman, or anything in between. It's nothing to do with. I won't say nothing. It doesn't have much to do with that. It really does have to do with whether you can kind of sift below that and be like, all right, maybe shit doesn't make sense. Maybe my consciousness does create things. Maybe. Just start there. Get your foot in the door. That should help. Otherwise, this world that we all participate in will give you endless opportunities to be like, yo, this shit is fucked. This shit is no good. So I don't believe in the conspiracies, to go back to what I was saying, that things are purposely or intentionally all the time set up to fuck people. I think that's just a natural byproduct of looking at the world in a certain way. And I also don't think this is because of capitalism. I don't think it's because of a certain economic system that's in place. I think this has to do with people's belief systems, and those are generally being challenged right now. We see this now with all the UFO and alien stuff. It's like weird how like if 20, 30 years ago they would have said any of this shit about UFOs and aliens and what's going on and how we really don't have any idea and it's definitely happening, people would have lost their fucking minds. People would be like, holy shit, what the fuck? These kooks are right. This is insane. Why is this happening? Now people are like, yeah, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. And so that's just a testament to how most of the time in reality, you are eased into things. And that's you easing yourself into things. I know a lot of us would like to have like an arrival type situation and the aliens come down and, you know, they're these talking circle language and time doesn't exist and all that. That's cool. That's great. I'm sure that happens for some people. But for the general public, I think that would be too disruptive for their consciousness. Now, there always have been and will be periods of time where there is disruption is needed. I think we're going through a big node of that, like a chaotic node of destruction a little bit. But that's not like things are going to, it's not Armageddon in the sense that if shit's going to all be burned up, that's not how it works. It is the Armageddon, it is the apocalypse in the sense that your consciousness, your true self, your Christed self is coming down. And usually what that means is the destruction of one type of world, the death of one type of world. That doesn't mean the world's going to blow up. We're going to have to experience a traumatic death and then be like, oh, that's what it's about. But that is essentially what the end of mortal life is anyway. It is the destruction of one world and kind of the reemergence into another one. I still believe that we have the ability to determine whether our identity would carry along. What the form is, I don't know, but that feels accurate. So we're shifting, we're moving through states of consciousness, worlds that shit's weird. Aliens are here now, right? UFOs. That's cool. What are they going to do? Why are we finding out about this now? I don't think it's conspiratorial in nature. I think in the past, when we're also moving, I'm sure you noticed this, and it can be quite uncomfortable because you have to actually go through it, is we're moving from like a fear-based mentality and mass to a more aware one of an idea of why fear exists in the first place. That is also scary for everyone, I think, but it is liberating because then you realize that fear is this thing that has a function. It can help bring your awareness to something pretty poignantly, but also like you don't have to dwell in it. You don't have to live in it. It is a choice at some level. That's an important realization to just hang on to as much as possible. That ebbs and flows like everything else. Sometimes you can feel incredibly powerful and fearless, and sometimes you can just be like shaken in your boots. We give ourselves challenging situations. I mean, I know this from having 3 children in the NICU. I don't even think I mentioned in the podcast, but a month ago, Gabe, my second youngest child now, had a febrile seizure. He literally like kirked out in my arms. His fever spiked because he had roseola. We didn't know at the time. And like Bill had to like drive me to the hospital with what I thought was my dying child in my arms. I didn't mention that on the podcast, but fuck, that was a challenging situation. Like, having an infant son be in the hospital away from you in his first couple of days of life is a challenging situation. Those are the things. Those are the times where you put that's like your money where your mouth is. That's when you that's when like you really go into whether this stuff is useful or practical. In my life, I found those situations to be very liberating. It means you go through the fear, you go through the challenges, and I'm happy to say that each subsequent time something has happened, you handle it a little bit better. You can be a voice and presence of like loving calm and awareness and, gratitude and appreciation. It's easier to do. That's important to recognize and realize, because then it doesn't feel like, wow, is this going to be hard every single time? Am I just going to get slammed every single time? And it's like, no, of course not. Unless you choose that as a path, unless that's something that really like propels you forward in the way that it needs to help you. So yeah, this all ties back to money, because there is such a root fear associated with security. This could be abandonment. This could be just making sure everyone is okay, that people aren't going to get sick, they're not going to die, whatever, which is inevitable, right? People are going to die. But money really pings and pulls at all of those chords. I find it to be a useful energy. I've found that when I shifted my views about money and what its function in reality was, a little easier to come by it. It's like a relationship. It's like if you like someone, right? I, in the past, have been varying degrees of uncool and cool about liking people, right? I've liked to think that I progressed to a pretty cool level, but like you can be not cool when you like someone and, not get the result that you want if you're being uncool. You don't run up on people like, I like you. please, I think about you all the time. Go out with me. I never did that, but something on that spectrum. That's not really how you attract someone. And then also, when you attract someone, how do you maintain and foster that kind of dynamic relationship? That's what you do with money too. So if you have a weird, fucked up relation with money, if money's abused you in the past, if you've been in a traumatic relationship with it, it's just time to reevaluate. Because a lot of people are going to realize sooner rather than later that this isn't something that's meant to restrict you. A lot of times we use money as an excuse as to why we don't have what we want or why we're not doing what we want. Well, I do it, but I don't have the money for that. I'd really love to learn guitar. I just don't have the money for that. I don't have the money. Or I'd really like a new computer because I want to learn some like illustration stuff, but I don't have the money for that. Not what I need. That don't board that train. It's not really worth it. It limits you, and you're using money as an excuse rather than as a tool and an energy to help facilitate you feel the way you want to feel. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I'm saying. So money is a meme. Your dollars are not that valuable. I'm sorry. It's the world standard still of what most currency is pegged to, United States dollars. Not that good to keep holding on to. Not the worst thing. People accept them a lot of places. Your value of your dollars is going down quite a bit. This is not a theory. This is a fact. When you print more money, the value of that money goes down. The value of Bitcoin will continue to go up in dollar value, but who knows? What will $12 million Bitcoin look like, right? Probably will only feel like $1 million, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. But don't think dollar value is any more real than anything else. I think we'll prove this with the drugs cryptocurrency. I do have a feeling that a lot of people are going to learn that lesson in various ways. I don't want to make it seem like the price is only going to go up, and there are people who will probably buy it, sell too early. There are people who buy it, sell for a loss. There's all the things happen like in real life, but it's your ability to kind of interface with the meme of money that will determine your kind of success with it. And I think that's what crypto for me has been pointing to for the past 9 years, right? I mean, I think that's it leads up to a point where you recognize this shit is just a meme. It's a good meme. You ever see a good funny meme and it hits you in all the right spots and you're like, yeah, I get it. And you can't even really explain it sometimes why it's so good. It's just a feeling. It's, yeah, that's what money is. It's just a very elaborate and complex one, seemingly. So let's meme ourselves some money so we can start doing some cool shit. Cool shit can be defined as anything you think is cool. For me, that is giving money away, creating an ecosystem where people can actually tap into something and receive what they need. Making music is fun for me. Live events, I mean, it sounds like if you're vaccinated, you can do that pretty soon. I don't know. I mean, eventually they have to let non-vaccinated people do stuff too. Or is that bad to say? Am I wading into shitty water again? I don't want to do that. People still very sensitive about. Someone told me the other day that, things are opening up thanks to the people who got vaccinated. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad that people believe that. And if that's what you need to feel good, that's fine. Probably not the whole answer, but it is good that people feel that they are doing something that's helping themselves and other people. Can't shit on that. But yeah, we'll probably be having live events in Brooklyn, I'm thinking sometime, if not the summer, probably the fall. But yeah, everything is good, guys. It's pretty fucking sweet. Patrons, you've really been champs this month. I've been all over the place, getting ready for this baby and then dealing with the actual baby delivery. We're going to have a much more fun month in June. We'll get the smoke sessions up and going. I'm just going to say that every month until it happens. We'll get some more live streams in. I think we only had 1 or 2 this month. But that's still the best place to go for CryptoSync stuff. You would have heard about the drugs pre-sale in there. There's just a lot of cool shit going on. And the community is really evolving to a point where I think we have 350 patrons now, which is a record for me, which I'm really proud of. People drop off. There's no commitment. You don't have to stay. If you join, it's definitely the best place to go if you're jonesing for some extra stuff. These episodes will continue to come out twice a month. I will have guests one of those times most of the time. This was a rare exception where it was just like impossible to schedule things. But I know Ramin and Jess and me were thinking of doing like a three-person podcast thing. So I'm gonna reach out to them about that. Things are great. I love you guys. You're the best. Things just get ready for awesome shit. Is all I'm saying. All right. I will see you soon. Bye bye.